problem compared to when you put it there and people are grateful. Oh, thank you for doing this. Do you understand? Even subsidies must be applied. You know, it's a fine scissors. You must apply it with, and this is the kind of thing that can be done in the body I'm talking about. It is not the biggest people, it's not interministerial. Let ministers do, but crack technocrats who are doing this 24/7 with preferably, most preferably, injection of the best international, do you understand, economic development experts. I would like to see some people like Joseph Stiglitz, this old Baba in there.
Is it going to be applicable to our own scenario here?
It will
whatever
be.
Theories or models that they will have.
No, it's not a model. This is a body that is taking. See, when you're a minister of education, you are looking at education. When you're a minister of steel development, you are looking. Do you understand? This is a body that is taking a full view and seeing what, if you move here, this is like Fela. When Fela is on the stage, 30 instruments, he's the one who, he knows if this one is sounding too much. Do you understand? This is the orchestra.
Wouldn't that be an ideal situation? Because remember, we've got a dearth of infrastructural challenge here, and so they say, look, with respect to all of those, which is why they were talking about, now they're talking about rail, improving the road infrastructure. If all of those happen,
they've talked about these things for decades.
They've also have some funds specifically released to those agencies. So if that happens in the years to come, shouldn't we be optimistic that yes, it will affect the prices?
Well, you solve one problem, you create another. Let me tell you my problem with the infrastructure thing. Especially because we are doing much of that by relying on Chinese funding. I would have preferred not to mention, but foreign funding, let's say. The Chinese, I'm sorry, I had to just say this. I've attended international meetings where they talk about their China-Africa policy. You see, the Chinese have a very clear grand strategy for entering into Africa, for penetrating Africa. They have cultural, they have technocratic, they have, you know, economic, they have everything. They even have the labor aspect of it. So they are dealing with us from a script, a grand strategy, wholesale strategy. We are dealing with them on a retail sale basis. So when they come, they want to do this road, they will tell you, we'll fund everything 100%. Don't worry. But that's part of a larger strategy. They are looking at the book and deciding to go this way or that. But we will go and say, oh, we're very happy. You are going to fund this rail, go ahead.
So
where is our China strategy?
That's what we'll talk about.
We don't have a China. We're just going. Let's talk
about that a little further.
That's where we go.
We'll return from the break and continue in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. So go ahead and tell us. So what should we be doing? What should our strategy be towards this loan and financing? Number one, we should be a little more nationalistic about how we see international economic relations, especially financial. Well, if China has a Nigeria strategy, look, China has an Africa strategy. Then it has a very clear strategy for all the 4 or 5 key economies. It has an Egypt strategy, South African strategy, Nigerian strategy, Angola strategy, and things. We also need a China strategy. In other words, they want to interface with us. If they ask for this, would allow up to here because. And then you need that body watching out, that intersectoral body of experts.
Isn't there that local content policy that the government runs to address that?
Again, I'm saying a body that has an eagle eye across the entire system. So it is that body that gives the grand stares to the ministries and the key agencies. You can't just fly off because you want to suit your ego. No. The only ego we want to suit is the ego of Nigeria's national industrialization.
How do we get Gary? Look at Gary. Gary is very, very, very stable. And it's a concern for a lot of people because people are going to the market today to buy that particular Gary.
Yeah.
How can we ensure that Gary that is produced in the Delta area, Edo State, for instance, and it's so cheap there, why is it so expensive here?
That's right. It's because you have, I've told you before, that anything you pay for in Nigeria is 50% market forces determine the price. The other 50% is greed forces, speculation forces, influence peddling forces and all of this. So again, you can solve that. You know, when I started, I said, I'm a bit frustrated about the lack of will to solve embedded structural problems. So you see, even if they do well, and this is why it's all a yo-yo. So this month, the inflation comes down a bit. Next month, it might go up by 2%. Do you understand? It's because a lot of these nice efforts at the steady state, regular economy management thing are being undermined by the deeply embedded structural problems. And some of these structural problems, you can and you should identify about 10, 15, and say every year we are going to knock out permanently 3 of them or 4 of them. Banks will not charge any hidden whatever. Do you understand? They give you a form to do transfer when they say they shouldn't charge COT. So they charge you for the form. They do. Excuse me. I don't want to use a Lagos term that we use that. Even a madman has a boss. The government is the boss. Federal government. You must be able to control what you want to control. Take this poison out of the body once and for all. Throw it in Atlantic Ocean. Take another one. If they say every year we're going to solve and remove permanently 5 embedded structural problems, they should have a program so that the economy starts responding more positively with with oxygen to all these other tweaking and changes you're doing to make sure that the day-to-day one
Isn't that part of what the ERGP is also designed to address?
Design is great. I come from a development, implementation, leadership background. Design is great. Implementation is king. Bloody good monitoring, so that even if an armed robber is charged with implementation, the way you design it, the way you monitor it, he will not be able to practice his armed robbery. We need that even in the wider Nigerian system, so that some of these politicians you go, if you are an armed robber by instinct, you will not be able to do your armed robbery in that ministry you are heading.
That's
good place to anchor.
That's strengthening up of systems.
Well, yes. that's where we anchor. Mr. Bolaji Ogunseye, development economist, thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment. I'll turn our attention to a different matter entirely, sir. Don't go away.